What's going on, everyone? My name is Under the Radar, and welcome to a video where I kind of just wanted to sit down and talk to you guys, because I feel like there's a lot of hoopla going on in the community right now, and I wanted to give you guys my opinions on it. And basically what I wanted to give you guys my opinions on was the treehouse, where we received some pretty interesting news. We received news that Pokemon Sword and Shield was only going to be allowing Pokemon that are in the Galar decks to be transferred through Pokemon Home. Now, real quick, I did want to play the clip so you guys can hear it for yourselves, that way you guys know exactly what's going on. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to mute the music real quick.
There's one thing I'd like to talk about, and it's about the Pokemon Home service that we recently announced. So it will connect with the Pokemon RPGs as well as Pokemon Go to allow players to really gather all of their Pokemon in a single location. And of course it will also work with the Pokemon Sword and Pokemon Shield games.
So he says that, and then he goes on to say,
Pokemon Bank service, you were able to, for example, in Sun and Moon, bring over any Pokemon even if they weren't in the Alola Pokedex.
Then
It's, you know, it's being much more powerful, allowing us to be much more expressive with each of the individual Pokemon.
And this is where the ball
drops.
drops.
The different Pokemon, while also, you know, taking into account the battle balance, having so many different Pokemon available, all within, you know, a limited development time, so we don't keep fans waiting too long for every new entry in the series. On Sword and Shield is that players will be able to transfer their Pokemon from Pokemon Home only if they appear in the Galar region Pokedex.
So that is what was said in the actual treehouse. So what does this mean? This means specifically that unless it shows up in the game itself, it cannot come over. This means that those Pokemon are not coded into the game, whereas in Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, we didn't have a national dex. We just got them over, or I think it was Sun and Moon maybe. We just got them into the game because they were still coded into the game. It sounds like in Sword and Shield, they're not going to be coded in literally at all. So, I kind of wanted to talk just a little bit about how I feel about it and what that means. So first off, I see a lot of people on Twitter on both extreme sides. For me personally, I have no idea why that alert just went off. I don't really care either. So for me, I was extremely upset when I first heard it, because as you guys know, I do a lot of competitive draft leagues. I do a lot of Wi-Fi battles, and not allowing every single Pokemon in really limits what I can do. So I was extremely upset. And whenever you think about the slim chance, the very slim chance that Pokemon in theory could go bankrupt and this could be the final Pokemon game, it could be. If they go bankrupt, highly unlikely. But then if it is, we won't ever be able to use those Pokemon again. Highly unlikely, I realize this, but it is still a possibility that I thought of immediately. I was like, what if this is the last Pokemon game? What if they go bankrupt? What if their stock markets crash, God forbid, and then it's absolutely terrible? So that scared me, that I might not be able to ever use Linoone again in the most recent Pokemon game. I'd have to go all the way back to Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon to use it, and that's a little scary to me. However, I also see people on Twitter on the extreme, like on both ends of extreme. Okay, I'm going to tell you guys how I'm starting to deal with it, because I was extremely upset. I'm not as upset anymore, and I'll tell you why. But I'm seeing people on both extremes. I'm seeing people petitioning to not buy Sword and Shield, and to you I say, shut the fuck up. I see people saying that people don't have a right to be upset about this. To those people I say, shut the fuck up. Let people be upset about what they want to be upset about. You know, if they want to be upset that they can't use their favorite Pokemon in game, they have a right to be upset, but you telling people how to feel is wrong. People can feel how they feel. I felt upset. I needed time to think of ways for me to be happy with this change. And I came up with a way, and I'm going to tell you guys about it, so that way hopefully you guys can use the exact same way to be happy yourselves. I'm going to turn this music up just a little bit, because it's a little low for me. So, like, I saw Jubilee saying that she is firmly against anybody who is upset or doesn't stand by this Switch, because people that have, like, played competitive and are stuck in their ways, it has nothing to do with that. Like that's an extremist view, and of course Jubilee would have the extremist view, but that's fine. She can have that view, but don't try to tell other people how they should feel about this, because it truthfully is a big thing. Like, it was hard for me to accept it at first. It was very, very hard for me to accept it at first. Whenever I started looking into realistically what could be in the games, it could be worse. So first off, I played back in X and Y in draft leagues. So I was there in pre-bank X and Y. I remember having no pixelate Sylveon and drafting that bitch, and it was phenomenal. I remember having Mega Gardevoir without Hyper Voice. Like, I remember a bunch of amazing stuff that I was using in pre-bank X and Y. Like, it could be worse. Like, that's not that bad. So realistically, I don't think it's going to be that bad. I think it's still going to be awesome for content. The games are still going to be amazing. It's going to be phenomenal. I'm super hyped for this. I understand where people are coming from if they're upset about it. I understand where people are coming from if they're not upset about it at all. I'm in the happy medium. I'm a little upset about it, but I can look on the bright side. The bright side to me is, no matter what, we're getting this phenomenal game that looks beautiful on the Switch. We are also getting a game that realistically is going to have still enough Pokemon to have enough content for us. And there is a very good chance that we're going to get another game in a year after this that will allow us to have all Pokemon in it. And if you think about it, there's a good chance that Pokemon Sword and Shield will have some amazing Pokemon in there. I don't think you're going to have many Sinnoh Pokemon, because we're expecting Gen 4 remakes next year in 2020. I'm expecting all 151 because of Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee. They're probably going to take those models and just alter them ever so slightly, and then we can have all of those models. And then, you think about, that's 151. Let's say we get 100 new Pokemon. That's 250. That's not counting the other, like, 6 regions that could be taken from. So I'm still expecting a good 450, 500 Pokemon, which is a lot. We've also seen amazing Pokemon like Tyranitar, Hydreigon, Gyarados, Milotic. We've seen Lucario, Togekiss. Like, we've seen amazing things that we can transfer up. And what's even cooler is I want you guys to think about, like, the possibility of what they can do with the Switch. And this is making it a lot easier for me. Let's say they release, like, bi-weekly raids of really awesome Pokemon. Like, there was a leak going around saying that they could do that, but I was one that, like, I thought that they could do this before, like, I even heard that leak. I was like, okay, what if they do, like, so on Pokemon Go, they have these amazing raids with, like, all of the legendary Pokemon. What if they do that for Pokemon Sword and Shield, and then all of the legendary Pokemon can then be transferred up through home because they're in Sword and Shield? Like, that is a super, super, super strong possibility. On top of that, we already have access to one legendary in there in Mew. Mew is already confirmed to be in the game. That is a massive positive, for meaning that we could potentially have other legendaries in there. If they release events, like, if they release an event for Sword and Shield, like at a GameStop event or a mystery gift event of a Jirachi or a Zeraora or a Marshadow, they can automatically all come up. So, like, there's tons of possibilities to get, like, legendaries, between the raids, between mystery gifts, between events, between a bunch of different stuff. There's a very strong possibility we could still have a lot of the Pokemon we love. But on top of that, what I think is making me the most excited is how this is going to change Draft League format. So, as you guys know, I love Draft League format. It is my favorite format in the entire world. And whenever I think about Draft League format in Sun and Moon, it was so unbelievably stale for me that I actually quit for like 6 months, 8 months. And then I came back and I'm loving it more than ever. Imagine if it is a format where Landorus doesn't exist, where Celesteela doesn't exist. It is going to completely change Draft League format, and that could make it a completely new and exciting thing. For 2 years now, we've had the Sun and Moon format. There's been a very little difference with like Blacephalon, Naganadel, Stakataka, Lycanroc, Dusk, things like that. But aside from that, it's pretty much stayed the exact same with like a few like varying Z moves of like Mimikyu and Lycanroc. But it's stayed pretty much stagnant for 2 years now. I'm ready for a change. I'm ready to have something where like a Wailord could potentially be viable. Like, we've already seen that Wailord is in the game. What if it gets a stat boost? What if it gets like Recover? Wailord could be phenomenal. Like, that's super exciting. In every single generation, there's always new Pokemon that get stat changes. Like Raichu, Fearow did. I'm trying to think of what else did. But there's always a handful of Pokemon that get stat changes. What if they do that again? And what if it makes new Pokemon viable? What if they take out some of the legendaries and like middle evolutions then become phenomenal? Like, it's so exciting for me to think about the possibilities of what could change that it's making me more excited. And I think that if you think about it in a positive way of it changing the way you play the game and you still having fun because it's on a stupid powerful console of the Switch and a bunch of awesome Pokemon, I think that you guys would also really like this change. I understand why Pokemon is doing it. I understand why they can't push back the game. If you are one of those people that says just to push back the game, you're stupid. If they push back the game, they push back TCG. If they push back TCG, they push back the anime. If they push back the anime, they push back like merchandise, like stuffed animals, plushies is what they're called, not stuffed animals, and all of those lose them money. At the end of the day, we might think that Pokemon is doing this for us because we're the fans. Pokemon does not care about us. Pokemon cares about their wallet, just like every other business on the entire planet. So them pushing back the game is unbelievably stupid for them from a business perspective. So I understand why they can't push back the game. However, I do wish that every single Pokemon was in the game, but since it's not, I'm trying to look on the positive, and I'm really excited to see how Draft League format changes. If you guys are excited, if you guys are excited for Pokemon Sword and Shield in general, which everybody should be if you are a fan, Pokemon Sword and Shield is going to be amazing. Whether you have your favorite Pokemon in there or not, new favorite Pokemon will arise in every single generation and every single time you play through the game. So I hope you guys are excited. If you are, make sure to leave a like down below for me. Also, make sure you check out all the other videos on the channel. I do this all the time for you guys. And yeah, with that, I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope to see you all in the next video. Bye-bye.